Taste of Dragons Gaming Podcast. We eat sandwiches and play games. Taste of Dragons Gaming Podcast. A podcast for everyone's taste.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of Taste of Dragons, the Toddcast, the video game podcast that all you homunculi listen to. And this week, we go beyond D&D Beyond. The news is battling passes. And finally, Manda asks us a very important question. Is this a dragon? And as always, my name is Brian.
My name is Troy.
I'm Amanda.
I'm Hassel.
And I'm Joe.
Hey, everyone. Welcome. Well, welcome back to you, Hassel.
Thanks, man. It's been,
We missed you.
We did.
yeah. I'm a little sad, guys.
Oh, really? What's going on?
So, the FIFA World Cup kicks off on November 20th, I
I'm
believe.
sorry to hear that, bud.
That's gotta be real rough.
Yeah, happens
Well,
to all of
I
us.
think the rough part is that none of the countries that I can technically play for have called me up to play.
Oh, that is
don't-
devastating.
Don't lose hope yet. You still have a couple
Listen,
more days, right, bud? Right?
I'm 37 years old. This is likely the last World Cup that I'm probably going to be able to play in.
Yeah.
I don't know. Listen, don't ever count it out. Brady's still playing, my guy.
Yeah.
And you could be the
Yes,
next
yeah.
Brady.
I mean,
all
you
right?
still have
Yeah.
thumbs, right?
Yeah, I do.
Why would you need that for?
For FIFA?
Yeah.
For the video game?
No, not
Oh.
the video game. I'm talking about like real life
life.
soccer.
life.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm sure
real life
thumbs are
football.
important for soccer somehow.
I think the thing that makes me the most sad is that so for a long time now, I think maybe about 12, 13, 14 years, I've been saving up my runs for like one good last long run. Mm-hmm. So like when people are just like, "Hey, are you working out?" I'm like, "No, I'm not gonna do that because I'm saving them.
Yeah.
I'm saving them
Oh,
for when I
okay.
need them."
Yeah, you only get so many. That's
exactly.
all,
You got a
it's factual.
finite amount of runs.
Yeah.
So if this is the last FIFA World Cup like that I'm gonna be able to physically play in,
Well,
then
listen.
like where are all those runs gonna go?
Who do we need to call? Well, what countries do we need to call and phone up? You can
Well,
let
so
us know.
Bolivia's the only one that hasn't out because they didn't even qualify.
Okay.
Okay, they didn't
So-
qualify.
My grandfather is from Argentina, so technically I could play for them.
Okay,
Okay.
we'll call up Argentina.
And then the U.S. because I'm a new U.S. citizen. Guys, I voted this week.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah.
Not only that, last week I got my first jury summons.
Wait. You became a citizen this year, right?
Yeah,
And you got your jury summons this year.
yeah.
It took me about 13 years before I got my jury summons.
I hate you, Troy.
You don't understand because everyone talks about, hey, I don't want to get jury duty. And I'm like, yeah, of course not. I'm like 18, 19. I don't want jury duty. But then after like 5 years, you got to start wondering, is it me? What's the deal? 5 more years go by and it's like, okay, now this is just not fair. Let me in. Like, I want to be able to hate something.
Troy,
Yeah.
I've gotten so many jury summons in
Really?
my lifetime. I once got
Really?
a jury summon a year to the day to my previous one.
I've only been asked twice.
I've only been asked once,
Wow.
ever.
I've gotten those postcards so many times, and I've still yet to go into the actual jury room. Like I've been in like the waiting room.
Oh,
Right.
yeah. They always
But
send me
I've
home.
always been sent home.
See, this is probably why I haven't gotten one because since I finally got mine in my early 30s, and I was like, this is it, and I took that seriously. Like I got in that room and I clicked over from like, oh, I'm in a jury room with like a bunch of other people who don't want to be here and everything. That's very quickly clicked to, oh, here's my competition. Okay, so you're telling me that I brought my headshot and resume.
Out of the 50 people in this room, they're going to choose.
You brought a notebook, pen.
Yeah, I had a tight two tight monologues contrasting.
You're just chomping at the bit for that $35 a day.
Wait, do they pay you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I probably got paid. I wasn't there for the money, but like they got me in for the next section where they actually see if you're going to be good for this next trial, where you meet the lawyers and they ask you all these questions, and I'm like, ooh, this is gonna be great because I have to be eager but not too eager so that the
Right,
other side
right.
doesn't. You know, like
Right,
like,
true,
you want to be
yeah.
like somewhat. You need to look as if both sides could win you over.
You need to have no opinions. Yeah.
And so I was playing very coy. And no joke, as they were announcing who out of this now pool of like 20 were going to be the 10 jurors, like the smile that went across my face when they were like, and Troy, and I was just like, yes.
You turned around and you were like, suck it, old lady.
Troy, what you didn't
was
see is
so
that Troy
happy.
actually got up, went up to the microphone to accept.
I like to thank the Broward County Board.
It would have been really great
Commissions.
if they just would have been Troy and then Williamson.
So I have a new goal now. If I
Okay.
go in again, I want to be cast as. I want to be the foreman.
Oh.
Right? I want to be the
okay.
person that's like
Okay.
leading
Oh, yeah.
it.
Now you got some. Now you got some experience. You got some age underneath
Yeah.
you now.
And to be honest, I was jury number 4, which means technically I was the 4th man. I was a 4-man.
Oh,
Percy,
I see where you're
right?
going with this.
Yeah.
okay.
So I can put that on my resume as well and just hope
true.
they don't realize there's a U in that 4 when I write it down.
I like it.
Yeah.
But speaking of video games,
We still talk about video games, right?
Yeah, we do. Speaking of video
a little
games, let me ask you another question, Troy.
Me?
Yeah, well, everybody,
Okay.
but just another question. For this week's question, I was wondering if you could remaster/remake any game from your childhood.
okay.
What would it be? Like they make it now with nowadays graphics. Maybe they fix a couple of things with the gameplay, or maybe they just leave it alone. Maybe they just do the graphics just themselves. What would you like to play? I'll start us off. For me, I would want to see the X-Men arcade game, the one with the double sides, and there's 8 of you all playing at the same time.
Nightcrawler.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic.
I want that now because you can get 8 people together online. It don't even need to be, you don't need to have 8 different controllers.
Now, do you want that kind of retro remake like they're doing with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge and what was it, Final Fight or something they had?
Yeah, they've done it with that. Yeah, actually, I'd like to see it much more along the lines of like Shredder's Revenge, like one of those like they keep the feel of it, but they definitely do update the graphics and the gameplay a little bit. So I would love to see that. Yeah, because before I would be like, maybe I want it to be like a 3D game. I want it to be much more like Final Fantasy VII Remake, where it's like extremely ultra graphics. But no, I think the Cowabunga Collection and the Shredder's Revenge, I think they did it right. I think they did.
I'm at a bit of an odds. I keep thinking of like important games in my childhood, and maybe I just had good selection as a kid, but they've all had good remakes.
True.
Donkey Kong 2, Diddy Kong's Request. They didn't quite make the game, but they made Tropical Freeze, which is the same game, but updated to modern day standards.
True.
I was thinking of Final Fantasy 7, but they did that recently, and it was great.
Yeah.
Like all these like seminal games of my childhood, they've done. Monkey Island they've remade recently.
Yeah, but
It's not the same.
no, they remastered it. They did.
They did.
Yeah, so you can play Monkey Island 1 again with updated graphics. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Tetris? No, Tetris already has a lot of remakes.
And it's been remade?
Yeah.
Tekken gets remade every time they make a new Tekken. It's the
true.
same game.
Yeah,
It's very
it's
true.
just the same game.
I'm running into a similar problem because my answer is going to be a Legend of Mana, and you're going to say, but they just remastered that this year. And actually, I have a problem with their remaster.
Ooh.
Is they remastered it so that the graphics are updated, but they match what I remember the game being. I'm sure it didn't look like that, but that's how I remember it being. So it's like, did you change anything?
Yeah, you didn't do anything.
So they did a beautiful job. This isn't a criticism for them, but I would love it if they redid it in like a modern art style. So if they took like the game loop of Legends of Mana, but then they made it like a Final Fantasy, like
Gotcha.
it was like fully done, like
Oh yeah,
cutscenes and stuff.
Oh yeah. I think that would be really cool. Yeah, because they really did just what I was wanting is what they did with it, and what you're wanting is what they did with Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's exactly what that is. Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, I think that'd be really cool to get like ultra graphics with Legend of Mana,
like-
because there's so many weird looking characters in there. I would want to see what they look like in like real people.
And they had a lot of really cool mechanics. Like you could bring
Yeah.
the monsters that you captured home, and then you could like build them up, and you had them like as companions. But like the systems are still the same. They just like there's just like new skins on them. And I would love it if they were like, no, we're gonna take the mechanic and like ramp it up.
I like it.
Would be
That'd
and you
be
could
cool.
like choose the. I don't know. I can't talk too much about this game. I really like it, but
It's a good game. I like that
it is
game a lot
good.
too.
Yeah.
I unfortunately keep thinking of N64 games.
Oh, that's
And I don't
Yeah.
feel like those are. I feel like a bunch of them. Like I would like Star Fox redone, like and make it like smooth, clean, awesome Star Fox 64. But they did technically. They did put it out on the Nintendo. I think the online. It's in there.
They did, but it's still
It
the
still
same
looks
thing.
the way it did.
I mean, it's still
but
a
I don't
classic.
actually dislike that. I
Yeah.
still play a lot of the games that I played when I was a kid, and in the style they were in, they still look like heck, and I enjoy them.
And really, is Star Fox really Star Fox if you don't get 4 frames per second?
Right? I like when it stutters. I think it's funny.
So what I'm hearing is that in general, we have no complaints about video games.
Yeah.
No,
We're all
none
pretty much
whatsoever.
getting what
This
we
is
want. Yeah.
This is going to be a very boring podcast. No complaining. So I 007, but I mean that's already getting a remaster.
They are. They actually
We
are.
haven't
doing
seen
that.
it yet, though.
That's true. It could be terrible.
That's true. Yeah, we haven't seen it. Now, here's where my brain confusion takes over. Remaster and remake.
Right.
Yes.
One of them, they go back to like ground zero. They start the game again.
Yes.
The
That'd
other,
be a-
it's just kind of like putting on a filter.
A glow up.
Pretty much,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Which
remake.
one is the filter one?
The filter one is remaster,
Okay.
and remake is completely redoing it for
From
the
the
most
ground
part.
up, yeah.
Yeah, the idea
Gotcha.
is from the ground up. It's
Yeah.
it's code and
Okay.
all. They're not reusing it.
The 007 is a remaster. So what I'm going to say is I want them to take 007 and put him through like Unreal Engine 5. Like, give me a
Yeah.
remake of
Make him look like
GoldenEye.
Hitman.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's literally where I was going. Like, we are talking about GoldenEye, right?
Yes.
Because there's a couple
Yeah.
007 games, and I think the only one that matters is GoldenEye.
The only
the
one
only
that
one.
matters.
Yeah, that's the only
Yeah.
one. You say 007, that's all anybody goes to.
Just want to make sure.
Yeah.
There
Nice.
is one more 007 game that's really good. Oh gosh, and Maya does the song for it, and William Dafoe is the villain.
Oh yeah, GoldenEye.
No, no, and Charlize Theron's in it.
Troy, we have said that there is only one.
You don't understand.
only
There's
one.
another one, but it's Pierce Brosnan, and like it's its own game. It has its own theme song, and nobody knows about it. But it could have been a movie. Willem Dafoe is the villain. I'm telling you, it's an amazing
So,
game.
Is this the game you would like to remaster?
Ah, damn, into a movie.
Oh, you want that to be made into a movie?
It should have been.
But it could still have the same people in it. You could still have Pierce Brosnan. You could still have William Dafoe and Charlize Theron.
Yeah.
He was Russian.
Done.
Or hear me out. You could just have GoldenEye.
Damn it.
Agreed.
I'm going to send you all the song to this game after the podcast. So you all can hear it. It's so early 2000s.
You put it into the podcast discussion, Troy.
Yeah.
I will.
Drop it.
Is that what you're going with, though?
I mean, no, but I mean, I've talked enough. And to be honest, my remake was going to be Home Alone 2, Lost in New York for the Game Boy.
Nice.
Oh,
Nice,
that would be
nice.
good.
Because you literally can't get that game any other way. And it's not a great game.
No. In
I
fact-
actually love
But
that game.
I played it a lot as a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
a
you're
good
like
choice.
getting attacked by vacuums, just like they did in Home Alone 2.
That's great.
It's a real dumb game, but I would love to see it on a proper platform.
Okay.
A current platform, not a proper one. A
Whoa!
current
Shots fired.
platform.
How realistic are we talking? Because, like, after every single time he does one of his pranks on them or whatever, are they actually dead?
Yes.
Or are they still continuing going on after
like-
everything?
They're
No,
clearly
you
like Pikmin, and they just they those are ghosts
Right.
that just leave them. And
Okay.
they come back. It's
you
fine.
play as a indefinite number of bandits who are trying to get into this house.
Gotcha.
And
Gotcha.
it's like Dark Souls. You keep dying because McAllister keeps killing you in different funny ways, but you know about that trap when you go in as the next bandit.
Right, but the
I see.
corpses stay in this version.
Yes.
The corpses do
Yeah.
stay
Yes.
in very comical ways.
Yes. And they still ragdoll. So when you die and you ragdoll onto one of them, you
Yeah.
ragdoll the one below.
But
it,
sometimes
and-
that's how
Double
you get through
ragdoll.
the traps. Is
Right.
you need enough corpses.
It's true.
Oh, that's dark. Now it's dark.
Oh yeah, I made it dark.
Well, let's get on with this episode, everyone. So this week, Troy, what are we going to be talking about for our first segment?
So it's been happening for a while now. We're going to be breaking out from the screens and bringing it to the table. And then back to the screen.
And then into your ears.
And then back to your table again.
Yeah.
We're talking about D&D Beyond. D&D Beyond is a website that came out in 2017. That was a supplement to the Dungeons and Dragons video game originally made by Wizards of the West Coast.
Dungeons and Dragons tabletop RPG game.
There
Yes.
you go. Thank you. So D&D Beyond started out as just like a what? It was just like a collection of source material. It didn't have any affiliation with Wizards of the West Coast. It was just a.
This is the coast.
I keep saying West Coast.
Yeah.
Yes.
I actually kind of like it because it's like they're the West Coast Avengers.
Yeah.
The Wizards of the West Coast.
And it's the W and the W. I think it's like
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the coast
It's
they're
almost-
talking
you can just
about.
call it Wizards, by the way. It'll-
It's called
It's
Wizards.
almost like you're trying to start an East versus West amongst the Wizards.
Doing that? Is
Watch
that
out for the Wizards of the East Coast.
Which is funny that you keep saying West Coast because we are East Coast. So
Right,
you're
but
like,
but
yeah.
but they're based out of California, I believe. So that
Oh,
I always
okay.
presumed that it was the coast, wasn't it? The
I
coast they
don't-
are talking about is West.
I don't think they're based out of California.
Gosh, I know nothing about the Wizards.
I don't know for sure. I can't remember, to be honest. But
No.
they have. It's
You know a lot about wizards in D&D.
Yes,
Just not
yes.
about the wizards that make D&D.
We can look this up. Someone look up where Wizards
I
of
am.
the
I am. I'll
Wizards
look it
of
up.
the-
Yeah.
You keep
what-
explaining.
What
Yeah.
coast are they talking about
Yeah.
here?
Okay, all right.
So here at this table, we've been playing D&D for a while. Even so, Amanda, myself, Hassel, we started playing, I think, for the first time together back in 2012.
Wow, 10
Yeah.
years ago.
10 years ago, we were in a
Yeah.
campaign together, which lasted for about 6 or 7 years. And we fell in love with D&D. We fell in love with the world. We fell in love with the character, the characters, the role play, the combat. There was lots of ups and downs to getting together, the community. Like, we really dug into it. Recently, there's been a big push in D&D with big like Twitch streams of Critical Role and other
Correct.
popular D&D people. Yeah, Amanda?
Wizards is based in Renton, Washington.
Okay, so it is a
State.
West Coast.
It's a West Coast. You're
Okay,
right.
not California.
Yes.
A little higher.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So thank you, Amanda, for that fact, for that wizard fact.
Fact check.
So recently, it's gotten a lot more popular with Critical Role and whatnot, and people trying to get these different apps and different websites to try and supplement your D&D game. But then things blew up in 2020, as you guys all know. Everyone was locked down, and the D&D Beyond website saw their clientele just triple in size.
Wow.
People just at home being like, "What's this D&D thing? I'm at home. Let's figure it out."
I just saw Stranger Things.
I just saw
Yeah,
Stranger,
I was gonna
Stranger
say, it
Things
wasn't
make.
just being locked down. Stranger Things, shockingly, I mean, it did wonders for that game.
It did.
So there were many sites out there that kind of did what D&D Beyond did, just kind of a place for people to get some rules, understand the lore, and to kind of meet up and find some good tools to help play D&D, an accessory to your D&D campaign. But in 2020, they pretty much saw themselves like fast forward like months or years to where they had planned on being, all within like a month.
Wow.
And they were like, wow. 3 people quickly just sold out and we're like, all right, here, you all take it. They got bought out by Fandom. And a lot of the creators of D&D Beyond was like, well, we made it. Great. And they just like got out and Fandom took over from there. And it continued to grow bigger and bigger and bigger. Just month after month, more and more people. Man and I, we joined D&D Beyond in 2020 because your brother started a campaign. And I didn't know anything about it. We had already been playing D&D, but with just our basic old pen and paper, pencil and paper.
Yeah.
Well, you guys were also playing, what,
Wow.
second edition? Or 2.5.
Well, we were playing 2.5, but then in 2020 we were playing the
Fifth.
latest edition, 5th edition.
Exactly.
But we were still with the pen and paper, with the pencil and paper, with my
Oh.
horrible handwriting,
Yeah.
scribbling.
How archaic.
How archaic.
Paper.
It's kind of cool, actually, I
Jeez.
think.
There is something tactile to it.
Yeah.
I have to say, I use D&D Beyond, but as a wizard, I also need pen and paper. So like, even, it's not a replacement for. I need
It's
my
an
spell
addition
book
to.
to like. Also, I have to write notes. Also, where am I going to put the accounting for our portable loot? Like, how am I supposed to determine how much group loot versus my personal loot? And
Yeah.
also, like, if we find like 7 scimitars, am I going to put that in the app? No, I'm not going to take the time to type that. I'm going to write it down on a piece of
Write
paper.
down a piece of paper. So I didn't use the website when we first got introduced to it. It was just the only way that we were going to play with her brother's campaign, and I was still using just my own apps or my own notes. But at the end of that year, as D&D Beyond and D&D in general at large was growing bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, Hasbro stepped in and talked to Fandom and was like, "Hey, you want to like give us that website that like everyone's signing into right now?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure, take it for $116 million."
Wow.
And Hasbro was like, "Pfft, we're Hasbro."
Hasbro already owns Wizards of the Coast.
Yes.
And Hasbro makes lots and lots of money on all of its games. But the thing they make the most money on is Wizards of the Coast, which accounts for 72% of their earnings.
Jeez.
Which in hindsight,
Why didn't they always own the website?
why didn't they only? Well, in hindsight, fandom is like, oh crap, we could have sold it for way more. It's a very low asking price, knowing how much Hasbro relies on D&D.
Yeah.
But because Hasbro brought D&D and they owned the original creators, Wizards, a lot of synergy was able to happen. The D&D website, the D&D Beyond website, like, grew leaps and bounds. It added homebrew content. It added encounter makers. It added the ability to run battles. The website became more and more robust because they could integrate all of the Wizards information into it, which is then when I started taking it more seriously, like I logged back in and was like, oh, I can actually like make my full character and run it off this site like perfectly. And it's actually making me understand my character and D&D, the whole lore and this rules and the source books. It's helping me understand it even more. It's just this library, and that because of this site, it has actually like kicked me into the next gear of having a place where I can go and just devour as much D&D information as my brain can handle.
And we decided to talk about this week because Troy is starting a new endeavor, and we all got to jump into, two of us got to jump into D&D Beyond and kind of see what the tools are like for ourselves.
It's because of where D&D Beyond is at is why I feel like I'm able to be a dungeon master now, be a game master, because I have a really good set of tools like right at my fingertips that I used to be very scared to even think about running a game. But with this website, it's like, oh no, this is doable. I can run this through here. I can do that. If I don't know something, I can look it up real quick. And it has been amazing to be able to finally do something that I've probably kind of wanted always to do, but didn't feel like I was capable without this little extra help. But yeah, how's your experiences with the website been?
As someone who's played before, it was a nice way for me to put all of my information in one place. I mean, I was joking. I was riffing before, but I do really like the tactile nature of having things in front of me. So there was a very large barrier to entry for me. Like, it's got to be really good for me to give up the idea that I've tea-stained all of these pages. Like, I like the aesthetic of my D&D items.
We did a game where you made me a wizard book, and then you like drip scented candle on it, so it had like this nice smell. It was all waxy, all the pages. Oh yeah, that's a good point.
I like my tactile stuff.
Yeah.
So it made it had to be pretty good. So I feel like it speaks volumes that I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna have the app open while I play. Because there's something so nice about having, I mean, if you've never played D&D before, it can be really daunting, the amount of things that your character has access to, like all of the proficiencies that you have and all of the skills that you have and all of the items that you're carrying and I play a wizard in our largest campaign and a druid in one of our other campaigns, and then just spells can be just like, the weight of spells sometimes. It's like I own 45 spells for this character. So I have to remember what all of these do. And having all of that in one location so I can just flip over to a tab and then press a button to cast versus like, okay, well, let me open my book and let me go to the section for P and then I'll do, I'll look at the thing and then what is the distance? It's like, oh, no, I can just do it faster, which actually helps the pace of the game.
Yes.
Helps you plan better.
Right.
Hassal, I remember in the game that the three of us were playing as I was a wizard, like I would be hoping that you'd be taking longer on your turns in combat so that I would have more time to look through my spells because it would take a long time to sift through all that.
Mm-hmm. Nope. I was pretty cut and run. Just like, hey, what do I need to do? You need to do this. Okay, I'm going to do the opposite.
Damn it.
Yeah, it's that part of playing like the wild card chaotic neutral character. So as far as D&D Beyond goes, I'm coming in like blind. I knew of the website, I just didn't know what it did.
Okay.
So it's nice to hear like an explanation of like what it does, the content inside of it, like how it's benefiting you in this Dungeon Master run, because I have talked about potentially starting my own campaign as well. But it is very daunting Because, like, you know, I think back to our campaign like almost 10 years ago now, where, oh my God, it was almost 10 years ago.
Yeah, it was more than 10 years ago.
So I think back to that campaign, and I think about how when there was something, and our Dungeon Master was extremely good. And I think back to the things that we didn't know, and he didn't know, and how he had to sift through 3 different books to find the answer.
Is it in this book?
And
No,
I'm
it's
like,
not in this one. Oh, is it in the? Oh no, I think no,
Yeah.
it's in the chat. No,
Is
it's in this
it
one.
in the Monster Hint? No, it's in the Dungeon Master's Guide. I think.
No, it's in the Complete Book of Elves.
So the ability to have a search engine
Yes.
on the app where you can actually just type in like what you need to find, and you can just find it right then and there.
And
is
some of it
fantastic.
Some of it's is even better than that, because if you have a spell, instead of looking up what that spell does, you just click on that spell, and then a little side window comes up and tells
Yeah.
you everything you need to know about that
in
spell.
your app. Yeah.
If your armor, if you have magical armor, and you're like, oh, it's called my cloak of protection, it's like, oh, but what does that do? You don't even have to search for it. You just click on your cloak, and then it brings up a description of exactly what your cloak does.
Even better than that, and I apologize for people who don't play Dungeons and Dragons for what I'm about to say, because this is going to be nonsense. If you get a piece of armor, for example, that gave you a bonus to Constitution, and that bonus of Constitution, and you equip that armor, that bonus of Constitution will immediately go into your Constitution, and because your Constitution raised, it'll also immediately update all of the proficiencies that you have attached to that. And before, if I had a piece of paper, I would be like, okay, my character is wearing my armor, which means that my Constitution is this, and these are all of my skills. But like, say I took it off for a roleplay moment. I was like, she puts it to a side, and they're like, okay, well now, out of fun, you're now in combat. And I was like, well, my Constitution changed, which means all of my skills changed, which means for this combat, you're going to have to give me 15 minutes while I go through and update
Do
all
all
of
this-
these numbers.
Do all this math.
Temporarily, because I'm going to put the armor back on. But it's like, the app, as soon as I unequip it, all of it updates. And you're like, so much time saved.
It's great.
The magic of technology. I remember a couple of years after we started our campaign, I was a-hole and I moved to Los Angeles, right? And I was like, I still want to be part of that campaign. And we started Skyping. And I remember looking for so many different applications to be able to like fill out like my character sheet and stuff like that, so I would have it like almost kind of like an electronic form. But I could not find something, and this just blew me away.
Yeah. Like for myself, this is actually my first time playing D&D proper, if you will. I've played a lot of D&D games, and they are all very heavily D&D. It's just all the math's done in the background. Like all the rolls are done in the background. Like they're still rolling. It's just you don't see it.
Yes.
Which is pretty cool.
What is it? Turn tactics? What kind of fight what's that genre called?
Turn-based?
Yeah,
turn-based tactical games?
Yeah, you have those.
That's D&D.
Yeah, that is. I mean, and then even some games that actually happen in real time still do like D&D rule sets.
Yeah.
And so one of my favorite games from the Genesis was Warriors of the Eternal Sun, and that was based off of D&D. It took place in one of their lands, and it took place in one of their stories. And I didn't realize it until much later that was D&D. That was that was second edition. All right. And it was heavily D&D. So getting into this, it is very daunting, especially if you are a first-time player. Again, I have a little bit of experience, but not like this. So it was nice going into there and it actually being like, hey, what race do you want to be? You know, what do you want to do? And so you can click on a race and it would tell you, hey, listen, this is everything that you get with this race. You know, it has...
Here's a little bit of like story lore with it.
Yeah,
and
little
here are
story
like
lore.
the numbers.
Exactly.
What it gives you. What you can do.
This is exactly what it gives you. And not only what it gives you, but what it does for you. Like, hey, cool, you get this, but then not only is this like flavor text, but you also get +1 in your intelligence.
Yeah.
And it automatically adds that all up for you, like Amanda was saying.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see all that and not have to worry about, all right, I do have to make sure I write this down correctly. I only get 3 uses of this, but I got to make sure that I actually mark it down because I might forget because it's very easy to do. And yeah, it was nice going through like all the classes as well and seeing what goes on.
It's helping to reduce that barrier to entry.
Yes.
If I remember, even in 5th edition, Manda, and even with Hassel when we were making our characters, it was the whole night to make our characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was that entire night. And those nights were about 5 to 6 hours long of us just making our characters and rolling and understanding what works and
I
understanding
mean,
what
it's
doesn't
still
work.
like 5 to 6 hours, but
It was super fun, but we had a hurricane last night, a little hurricane. We all were kind of chilling down here. It wasn't too bad for us down in South Florida. But all of us are at home, and as Amanda mentioned, I'm starting a new campaign with some D&D Taste of Dragons folks,
Yeah.
and some friends of the podcast, and it took them about 3 hours, maybe. To
Yeah,
make
and
characters?
most of
Or
that was
2
just
hours?
coming up like, well, I want a backstory to justify what I'm
Yeah.
doing, or
Right.
actually
Or-
not even to justify, but to give me some direction of where I want to choose things.
or I want to use this AI generator to make the perfect character picture.
yeah, exactly.
Anything that took longer was just the creative process. It
Yes.
wasn't the actual number part, which I think
Not at
is
all.
the best part. You get
Yeah.
to the best thing about D&D is you tap into your creativity and get to share your creativity with others.
Mm-hmm.
And the D&D Beyond website does the numbers for you, so you could spend 20 minutes working on the numbers, but then 2 hours crafting this character and looking up pictures
Mm-hmm.
of what they look like and who their gods are, and having that fun part, that investment happen.
Yeah.
Which is great, which is what happened last night.
Yeah, and there's also 2 different ways that you can play D&D. You can play it your character, you can play, you can min-max. You can make sure your
Yeah.
character is the best at this, and then
Yeah.
you make their lore, around that. Or you can be like, well, my character is just terrible at this because that's just how they are. That's their background lore.
Right.
So I have to make sure I choose the correct skills that even though they don't help me and they're not going to have any
Yes.
use for me at all in the rest of this campaign, it goes with what my lore is and it goes with what that character is. So I'm going to choose that anyways, even though it makes 0 sense for my character, for that campaign. And yeah, there's definitely 2 different ways that you can play it, and that's definitely what took me the longest, is because I definitely wanted to choose skills that made sense with what I wanted to do with the character. And in fact, even today I went back into it and I changed 1 or 2 things. So I'll tell you about it.
Good. Let me know.
But yeah.
In a way, I feel like I wish that D&D Beyond was kind of around when we were in the thick of our campaign
Oh my
about 10
gosh,
years
yes.
ago, because I wasn't a good player as far as like keeping track of things. Like we would get something, I'd be like, oh sure, and then I'd be like, Manda or like Goombagal are
Marlene,
writing it down.
our friend. Yeah.
We're I'm good. I don't need I don't need to write it down. But this makes it so much easier to keep track of things. If anything, I think this game makes Dungeons and Dragons more accessible to people.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It almost breaks, like you said, Troy, it breaks down that barrier. It breaks down that wall of
If
so many people just being intimidated by Dungeons and Dragons and the math that has to go behind it.
if
And
someone
instead is going, this is easy.
Yeah.
if someone hands you a helm and it's a +2 on a second roll with this type of weapon, and then it also has these 2 different skills that it does, the DM doesn't have to look at you, read a paragraph while you hastily scribble it in a book. And then like 2 weeks later, when your next session comes up, you go, I used the helm of Hergudbur to I don't know, man. Help
And then
me.
the DM has to go, okay, what does it do? What does it say?
Yeah.
Read
On
what
a
paragraph is there?
Roll of 7. I don't know, man. No, he just hands you the magical item in game. You look it up. You put it in your sheet. Boom. It gives you all of the descriptive text. There's a button to do the thing that it
It's
does. Yeah.
effectively, and this being a video game podcast, I'm happy for it. It's
Mm-hmm.
video gaming the process of D&D.
Yes.
Where if you equip something, you press a button and then it's equipped.
Yes.
Like in a video game. In this, it's on a computer screen, but it's also happening in your imagination.
And one of the fun things I like about this is that at the very end of your creation process, you get your character sheet. So it actually shows you everything, but it's not just a sheet. You can actually click on every single thing in there, and it tells you, and you can equip. Like you said, you can equip, unequip stuff. And then on top of that, if you're all in the same campaign, like we all are, if say like Troy's like, hey, you have a saving throw that requires intelligence or whatever, you can just click your intelligence button. It will automatically roll the dice that it needs to roll, and it will show you your modifiers on top of that.
Yeah.
And be like, all right, this was their roll, but it actually rolls a digital dice on your screen, and everybody else sees it as well. Which is just awesome. I think that's like the coolest thing.
It's gonna revolutionize, or it has revolutionized separate plays.
Yeah, virtual
Virtual play.
Yes.
Online.
So the online play, so many different words just to get to online. I'm so sorry. I forgot what online was. Just by itself. And I think most D&D these days is played virtually through either D&D websites that are just looking for random parties to like group up, through DMs that are hired to DM parties like as a subscription service, which sounds great.
Yeah.
To just friends who, like you, Hassel, like are just out of town and like, hey, let's all meet up to play some virtual D&D. And I think it's filled that void in a perfect way.
Yeah. And you don't need to have a camera on every single person's table to make sure they're not cheating
Now,
while rolling their die, you know?
now it hasn't transcended everything quite yet. It's not the one-stop shop for
No.
D&D. Video is a large proponent. You still need to either get on Discord or Skype or
Zoom
or
any of those other
something
ones,
like that. If you want to have a video,
WebEx.
see someone WebEx. If you want to have, if you want to be, seeing your
You want a camera.
players.
They don't
on
have anything
camera.
for maps yet, so if you want to put down a map for your characters to move around on, they don't have maps or tokens or anything. But they're thinking about it. They have it in the works.
There's a lot of other services that do that. So,
Yes.
you can absolutely
The
do that.
convergence of Wizards and D&D Beyond is still happening. It's supposed to be done by the end of this year, but they have put out what they plan on doing, and it should be coming. It should be happening just more and more frequently, and also the support for D&D Beyond is going to become more robust. That being said, that does lead to a little bit, I wouldn't say controversy, but more of like, oh, that's something interesting to think about. So D&D Beyond was a website that you could use to supplement your D&D play. Like there were many websites, Roll20, the DMsGuide.com, that were like good websites that people would use to play D&D. D&D Beyond getting the golden ticket and the official backing of the actual game that they are trying to supplement has made it very, very, very hard for these other websites who are like, well, okay. Well, I mean, we do good work too, but like we literally cannot match what D&D Beyond is doing.
You can't post their published content.
No.
You can't say, oh, just look this up and I'll give you the monster stats. It's like, well, I could kind of do that, but like this is something that they own, so I can't. So I think the other sites have been very successful in places where D&D is light, like with the maps or with the video communications or chat, things that they don't have today.
Roll20 has video. It's not that great, but it has camera options and it has the maps options with it, which is big. But as I see D&D Beyond and Wizards being like, and we're going to have this, and we're going to have this, we're going to have this, I do feel kind of bad that all these other websites will probably just get... I'm concerned there's not going to be like a competition. If you want to play D&D, it's going to have to be through this D&D website.
Well, I don't know if
Beyond only.
I don't know if the competition is with D&D or if it's with tabletop RPGs, because
That's a
I
good
feel
point.
like D&D.
That's a great point.
People think of tabletop RPGs and they look, there's only D&D, but that's not actually true. There are lots of different game systems, and maybe just Roll20 becomes more of a Vampires the Masquerade system than it is.
You're 100% right, because I remember looking at I went on Roll20 and they do have a lot of options for the Pathfinder and a bunch of other games.
Well,
that you could-
Pathfinder's also owned by.
Oh, thanks. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Ooh, sorry, Roll20. But yeah, there's so many other tabletop RPGs. Like only D&D and its or Wizards properties will probably be through D&D Beyond.
Yeah.
But
It's a great tool. It's a great website, really, and it really just makes it more accessible. And I think that is the thing that I think D&D needed the most. It really did need, hey, you don't need to spend 5 hours just to have one battle. Like you really can just click on every single thing and make
you
it
can
easier.
get to the action.
Yes.
I think a big part of it too is that it makes it accessible to people in their homes, and not just from the pandemic and everything, but like, can you imagine being someone who's younger or not being, just being a different person and walking into a gaming store that doesn't have someone behind the counter that can help you with all that stuff? Or like, not everyone has a shop that has like here we have D&D like open role play night, like
someone who
and-
can teach you,
right? Where you have like DMs that are there literally to help new players. Like not everybody has a shop like that near them, and if they do, sometimes the people in the shop aren't the greatest people either. So it's like maybe you're just not jiving with the DM that's there. Like there isn't how many other people have a DM they can go to at another table, so it's kind of really cool that you can set all that up online and you can go find other people to play with, and from your home. It's pretty cool.
It's awesome. It's awesome.
So that being said, I'm super excited to start this new campaign, y'all.
It's gonna
be lots of fun. Hassel, we are doing it live in person. Amanda and Brian are in it, but I will be calling you up to make some guest appearances, if that's all right.
I would love
virtually.
to.
All right.
I got some villains in mind that I may need you for.
I will dust off the voices.
But like
Hell
we
yeah.
mentioned, D&D Beyond is going to have some updates coming in the next year. So maybe you'll hear a bit more of from us on this topic when those new features release.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's half of my Christmas list. It's just D&D Beyond stuff.
Which is great because that means it's more D&D Beyond stuff for me.
It is. It's a gift that will literally keep giving.
It will. So now let's move on to the news. The news is pretty light this week, actually. But I do want to start with one of the year's biggest and most anticipated games that came out this week. And unfortunately, some people are still waiting and anticipating. It appears some copies of the $200 collector's edition did not get a steel book or the game code that comes inside that steel book.
Wait,
What
just by
game?
accident?
Is this
Yeah.
for God of
game?
War?
This is for God of War. Yes. Oh, sorry. I figured that was what everybody knew, especially if you're listening to this 3 years from now. Yes, God of War Ragnarok came out this week.
Yeah.
And so it had a $200 collector's edition, which had, just a bunch of other things that came
Like
with
an
it.
axe or something.
Sure, yeah. It gave you an actual real life axe, sharpened and everything.
Yo, I would have bought God of War 3 if it came with an axe.
Right?
That axe is dope looking.
You actually throw it and it comes back to you. It's
Whoa.
amazing.
I'm in. Let's get this
But yeah,
collector set.
it came with it, and it was supposed to come, which is kind of stupid, but it comes with the steelbook, which is great. But it comes with the digital code for the game, so it doesn't actually have a physical edition of the game inside of it.
No.
But some of the game editions, they're all still sealed. When they opened up the box, there was no steelbook,
Dang.
and the code comes inside the steelbook.
So they got all the stuff.
With
They were all
no
dressed
game.
up with
Right.
nowhere to go. Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow, and they spent the most money.
The most
And
money.
well, at least they got that axe they can throw around.
oh, absolutely.
until
Yeah.
they get
Hey,
the-
still
until they
comes
get the
back.
code.
They're going to need that for the.
I mean, that's got to be an easy fix, right? A little unceremonious, but like, all right, they just email you this code. You get a little blip. All right.
But that's the thing, though. Like, you also have to make sure that people actually did buy it. You can't just be
Right,
like,
you have to
all right, send us a
verify it."
picture of this.
Yeah, email, whatever you bought it with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So
The worst they get is 2 codes.
true, and that's exactly what it is.
Ultimately, though, the steelbook is coming, or that's the piece that was missing, right?
Yes.
So they essentially would be saying, "Hey, I didn't get a piece of this $200 set that I
Yes,
I ordered."
but who knows how long that might take?
Oh,
And
Yeah.
so that's the other thing. Like, even if you contact customer support and they get
Yeah.
it to you, they still have to verify. They still have to do their things. So it's still
And God of War Ragnarok is a narrative-driven, story-heavy game that you really need to be dodging all types of internet spoilers if you
Yep.
if you want to like
Yeah, if you
absorb
wanna-
that game
exactly
in its purest form.
And then on top of that, a lot of these were picked up at midnight. So it's like by the time they got home, opened it, and realized it, it's like 2 a.m. or whatever.
Ugh.
And the stores are closed.
I know exactly how they feel. It's like when Amanda, you and I went to Taco Bell and then we ordered our food and then we got it in the box and we got home, opened the box, and like 2 chalupas were missing.
Yeah. That's exactly it.
It's
I
a
feel
chalupa
like
box.
I feel like
This is why I always order
wait.
multiple things at Taco Bell. I literally will always order 2 meals because by the time I get home, I know there's some plates of
Always
both of them
something
missing.
missing.
Yeah.
in this case though, Troy, they bought the tacos. They went home.
Yeah.
They opened it, and there were no tacos in the box.
No tacos.
Actually,
Yeah.
no, I think there's
Just-
no shell.
Or
I
there's
literally
no.
think they got all of the taco fixins
No, it's
on
only
the
shell.
inside
It's
of
only
it.
shell.
Or it's
Only
only
shell.
shell?
It's only
Okay.
shell.
Just
yes.
only shells.
I really like taco shells. That's kind of one of my favorite parts of a taco.
Well, you know,
For
you
me,
would be
that's-
happy, Joe. You would be happy.
I would still be cool with it.
But yeah, unfortunately, that is what it is. But I think they are making it right now.
Best of luck to those people.
Absolutely. And then EA is in the news this week with their battle pass for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. But for once, it's for something good. I know EA and something good in the same sentence. It's
Whoa.
crazy. See, they're actually doing their battle pass a little differently this season, and in that you're actually able to choose your routes that you want to unlock stuff in. So they're going to have like different like groupings of things in their battle pass, like 20 groupings, and then you can like steer yourself towards that one and be like, oh, listen, that's an operator that I use, that's a skin that I use. So let me go towards the left.
Man, so it's the old skill trees, except you're paying for the route you want to take.
That's exactly what it is. I mean, it's free. They have free routes and stuff like that.
Okay.
I actually went to, it's like the sphere grid from Final Fantasy X.
Yeah, I remember that.
But I like that because it's great because
You don't get stuck with a bunch of stuff you don't want or you don't use.
you don't use,
in your
or
battle
you're just
pass.
like, oh, great, I really want to play this season, but I play as this character as my main, and they don't have a skin until level 92 or something
Right,
like that. And it's
right.
like, well, okay.
Or
I like that.
I have 12 days to play this month, and that means I can get to level 50. I was like, well, it'd be great if I could get things that I actually want in that
Exactly.
time.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it
Also,
is.
did you say EA? Is Activision Call of Duty?
Oh, you're right. It's Activision.
Okay,
My
all
bad.
right, just
My
making
bad.
sure.
That's
Just
not me.
making
I got so enthused that EA might have some good news, but I was wrong.
Well, I mean,
you're right.
Activision Blizzard doesn't have a lot
Still
of good
same
news.
thing, yeah.
So
I was gonna say that's interchangeable.
It's interchangeable.
I
You're
think
right.
you're
That's
both
why I
right.
went to EA. You're right. But yes, you're right. Activision.
So-
yes.
In my head, while you're giving these news, I'm going, EA would never do this.
And you were right. You were 100% right.
sports.
Yeah, I'm like, EA would never give you something like this.
They want every penny.
So yeah, hopefully this works out and this actually goes to other games that do these types of battle passes because especially Overwatch. Overwatch could heavily use this with
Yeah.
their skins.
Yeah, I finished that battle pass and got an amazing, beautiful, mythical costume for a player that I never play. I played Overwatch for about 2,000 hours. This character has about 3 of those hours.
Oh, no.
Literally, it could have been anybody else.
Finally, Final Fantasy 16, their PlayStation exclusivity window has leaked. And this is something that's normally held just closed into like contracts and stuff like that. Nobody really finds out until like they release on someplace else, you know? But it's actually leaked and it appears it's only going to be exclusive for 6 months.
Oh, okay.
Which means that it could
that's not
appear
bad.
on like Steam or even possibly Xbox as early as late 2023 or early 2024. They haven't released the release date yet. It's just they have said summer 2023. So I mean,
Okay.
that's crazy.
That's fine because like especially when it comes to like not that it matters, but like year-end awards.
Yeah.
And you want people to play your game, but you still want to honor your contracts or your I don't know.
And that feels fair because
6 months.
If you want to be in the zeitgeist of everyone playing it when it's new, that's what the exclusivity is for. Versus like, I feel like after 6 months, it's kind of worn off.
I
Like
agree.
you're playing it with everybody. The spoilers are spoiled. The
Yeah.
things are, the internet has
I think
Right.
6 months
6
is
months
fair.
sounds fine.
Yeah, because I think that's what it was for Final Fantasy VII Remake. When they released on the PlayStation 5 with the Intergrade, it was a 6 month window, and 6 months to the day it released on Epic Games and Steam. So yeah, this is not something that's out of the ordinary, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm still going to play on PlayStation because I got to get a day one. But for everybody else, yeah, you're going to be able to play it on whatever system you want to play it on, and I think that's great.
I'll be right there with you, man.
Nice.
Day one.
Nice.
Look at us.
Look at us. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? Well, everyone would have
Yeah,
thought.
everyone. Yeah.
We haven't missed a Final Fantasy game.
We didn't fool anyone, Troy.
We saw it coming.
We did. Yeah, that'll do it for the news. And now we have our final segment where Amanda asks us some very important questions.
I have some bad news.
Uh-oh.
Our time has come. We have to put away our podcast booties and put on our work gloves and safety goggles. Our listeners might not be aware, but the Taste of Dragons podcast also doubles as staff for the DRA, Dragon Registration Authority. It's our job at the DRA, to identify and validate video game dragons. Today, we have something of a snafu. This dragon's paperwork was accidentally filed under Shredder instead of Incinerator, an honest mistake that I'm sure Troy will never make again.
I'm so sorry about that, y'all.
How are those burns healing?
Juicy.
Good.
Did you file with the union?
I'm still working on workers'
workers'
comp for
comp.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Got it.
We'll
rough.
see.
It's rough.
Tied up.
So our challenge today is to guess the name and location of this video game dragon based only on their picture.
Oh.
Due to extensive data privacy restrictions, only I may look at the photo. So I'm going to leave it to my fellow podcast cohorts and the people at home to guess who is the dragon that I'm looking at. Yes or no questions only for I don't know, business reasons.
So we need the name of the dragon.
Yeah.
And
And where.
what game the dragon is from.
Yes.
Okay.
Hey.
All right. Okay, I have.
What-
I have
what-
Is the dragon blue?
No.
okay,
What
does the
constitutes as a dragon?
What is yes or no questions only? Yes.
No, but how does that answer what constitutes as a dragon?
Dragon constitutes dragon. That's a yes.
listen? That's us. That's for us to determine. All right. And there are no rules.
Does this dragon have wings?
Yes.
Ooh, good question.
Does this
Good
dragon
question.
have abs?
I thought you were going to say ass. I was like,
have a
Brian, my goodness.
I'm gonna say no.
Okay. All right. No ab dragon. Okay, so this isn't the 3DS. Okay, got it.
Would you consider this a tiny dragon?
Yes.
Oh.
Okay. Is this dragon from a Final Fantasy game?
No.
Darn.
Is this dragon originally from a movie?
No.
Is this dragon a friend?
To
Hassel's finding the best questions.
These are all abstract questions.
this dragon has friends.
Nice. Hassel, you got her. We got a little more information out of that one.
I get to put down exactly one face on my Guess Who board with that.
Right.
I guess, is this dragon friendly?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Is this dragon violent?
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Dragon.
Well, how do you, some dragons are very peaceful.
It could be Peach Dragon. Peach Dragon was very nice.
Okay. I mean, if it's a video game dragon, it's a dragon in a video game. Like, odds are.
It's true.
There's
Is the
some violence
game
there.
this dragon is from within the last 10 years?
I don't want to give you any more information.
Has this dragon been in a video game within the last 10 years?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Is this dragon from like an age of dragons, like a dragon age, if you will?
No.
Okay.
Against all odds, no.
Oh, all right.
Is this dragon from a game that has many sequels or has more than
Yes.
one game?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Is this dragon on the cover of the video game?
Ooh.
Yes.
Wow.
I mean, if you have a dragon in a video game, are you not going to put the dragon on
I
the cover? Or
mean-
are you just not going to?
Some don't.
Some
All right.
don't.
Is this dragon from a console exclusive video game?
Big question. Big question.
It is.
No.
Okay.
So not. So
Not
it's
console.
multi-console.
Multi-console. Okay.
Is the game of which this dragon is from, is it a fighting game?
No.
Okay. Is it an adventure game
Define adventure game.
like Zelda
There is
or The
adventure.
Witcher?
there is adventure in the game.
Action adventure.
He means action adventure, right? You mean
Yeah.
like that's
like
like
Zelda and The Witcher.
It is not from Zelda or The Witcher.
Is it a game like that?
In video game genres are so.
Is it from a third person narrative video game?
It has a third person perspective. Sometimes there is narration.
Okay, I got this.
Got it.
Is this character possibly from the Skyrim universe, or not Skyrim, Skylanders universe?
Yes.
Could this person possibly be Spyro the Dragon?
It is Spyro the Dragon.
He's a tiny
that was
dragon.
awesome.
Really?
He's a tiny dragon.
He's a tiny
He
dragon.
is a tiny
Tiny
dragon.
I do have one more dragon if we have time.
Oh, we got time.
Okay.
Oh, we got
for
time.
it.
I will
For it.
make
We've
time.
got time. We've got time. Let's do it.
Question 1. Is it Spyro the Dragon?
No.
Darn. Okay.
Thought she was going to get us.
We got it out. Listen, the DRA sometimes, just
Right. Yeah.
they like to just they sometimes send the same application through twice. Okay, it's a bureaucracy. It happens.
That does seem like something Spyro would do. Is like, I don't know, my form didn't come back. We'll just send another one and another one. And another one.
It's
You know what?
actually
I think most of these are Spyro.
they're just different versions of the Spyro Skylander, since there were metal ones.
There was the metal
Oh
ones,
yeah. The purple one, and then
Right.
the dark one when he has like that angst
Right,
face.
exactly.
Yeah.
exactly. And then there's different ones. I mean, it could be the one from Giants. He's still small though.
Oh my goodness. That was great.
So we'll put the Spyro's paperwork to the side.
All right,
we'll
good,
get that
good. I
filed
just want to make sure.
appropriately.
Okay, good.
Love it.
But we do have this other one here.
Okay, did you make sure to stamp it twice? Because we last time we only did it once, and they sent it back.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
all right, makes sense.
I had a conversation with Karen. That won't be happening again.
All right, thank you. I don't like talking to her, so I appreciate that. She's scary.
Yeah, it's the fangs.
All right, so let's see here. Is this character in multiple games?
Yes.
Okay.
Is this dragon is this dragon a green dragon?
No.
Does this dragon have a beard? Is it a bearded dragon?
It is not a bearded dragon.
Does it have a regular beard, like a human beard? Because that sounds great too.
It does.
Yes.
Wait, what?
Whoa. Yeah, she tried to get us.
Wait, what?
Does
I'm more
this
confused.
dragon does this dragon appear when his alter ego Liu Kang wants to eat someone?
No.
Okay.
All right.
Is this dragon Sean Connery from the Dragonheart series?
No.
Because he has a
I'm
beard.
very
does.
sad I didn't think
I'm
of
pretty
that.
sure they have a game too.
He does. Yeah, absolutely.
Are we only doing video game dragons?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. Although she hasn't said yes or no.
Yes. Yes. Sorry. Yes.
I thought she was going to try to get us again.
Does this dragon belong to Pete?
Wait,
No.
you think that the dragon from Pete's Dragon has a big old beard?
I
That's
don't know.
a very
I don't know,
different
man.
movie. Hey, Pete.
Hey.
let me put out this cigarette. Hold on.
Hold on, kid.
Did you ever watch Two Pete, Two Dragon?
You're right. I did not watch the sequel. That's on me.
Or Pete's Dragon 3, Tokyo Drift?
Does this dragon turn into a human?
Yes.
Oh, all right.
Does this dragon breathe fire?
1 minute.
Dragonpedia?
Talk amongst yourselves.
We need to think of more questions.
Who do you
Technically, dragons breathe air.
think? That's a really good joke.
That was solid. That was solid.
That was a solid joke,
guys.
man. Well done.
I'll be here all week. If you want the tour dates, they're going to be on witcher.tech.
Fantastic. Oh, yeah. Never mind.
This dragon can breathe fire.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
When this dragon turns into a human form, is the person they turn into an older gentleman? Are they above the age of 40 or 50?
Sometimes.
Whoa.
Sometimes.
What?
40 is
Perhaps
not
this
old,
game
Troy.
goes through the person's age. Perhaps this is you started a
Whoa.
Oh no! Okay. No. I'm never mind. I was gonna say something, but I shouldn't. Just it's fine.
talk amongst yourselves.
Yes.
Is this character from Mortal Kombat?
No.
Okay.
Because
Because it could have been Shang Tsung. He
Yeah,
does
yeah.
just
Go
transform.
dragon. Is this dragon smart?
Yes.
So he's a nerd.
Nerd dragon.
Nerd dragon.
Nerd beauty dragon.
Did this dragon get over 1440 on his SATs?
Are you talking about before the writing segment or after the writing segment? Because after the writing segment, that's not that high.
Right, yeah.
I'm gonna say no because I've never taken the SATs.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Does this dragon, does it live in a city?
No.
Does it live in a mountain?
No.
Is it a mountain?
No.
Okay.
It
Oh
could be
man, I
a mountain and a
would
man.
live for it to be a mountain dragon that turned into a
it's-
person
Right.
with a beard.
Do you currently see this dragon in the room with you?
No.
Funny. That was good because it
That was
beard.
good.
It could have been me.
There's
I'm
also a lot
sad I
of
didn't think
stuff in here, Troy.
There's also a lot of
There's a
dragon
lot of
paraphernalia in our house. Is this dragon the main protagonist of the game?
No.
Is this dragon the main villain of the game?
No.
Does this dragon help the protagonist?
No.
Does this dragon have abs? I forgot to ask that question.
You should always ask that
I should.
question.
I should. That's not me.
When it's a dragon.
When it's a dragon.
Not
when
just
it's a dragon.
abs.
Yes.
No.
yes.
Impressive abs.
No, it does not have.
Okay, so still not from
It does not
3DS.
have
Got
human abs as a dragon.
it. And you're not boxing it.
Is this dragon voiced by Benedict Cumberbatch?
Good question. Good
No.
question.
Oh,
That's
okay.
a darn good question.
Does this dragon still have a human beard when it's in dragon form?
No.
Okay. So that make this
That's
that
true,
visual was
sure.
in my head for a
Yeah,
while,
yeah,
and
I
I
like
need to
it, I like
like.
Is this
clear it
dragon
out.
on the video game cover arts?
No.
Okay.
Is this dragon from a game that I've played?
That's real difficult. That's real
Maybe got a good
choice.
idea of what I played.
How about we use a game? Is it a dragon I have played?
Definitely not.
Okay.
That helps a lot, actually.
And Troy, yes.
It is.
Yes.
Oh, that means I'm
Oh,
gonna hate
is
it
this-
even more when we get this answer.
Is this dragon part of the Marvel universe?
No.
Oh,
Is this dragon from Final Fantasy?
No.
Okay.
Is this dragon from? No, there's no Monster Hunter dragon that can turn into a human.
No, there
No.
not.
Is anyone in Kingdom Hearts that can do it?
Is this dragon from Kingdom Hearts?
No.
Is this dragon from Elder Scrolls?
No.
Is this dragon from Skyrim?
No.
That's Elder Scrolls.
Yeah, but like one and the other, like there's Elder Scrolls Online. All right, that's what I thought you meant. But yeah, you're right. It could have been both. You're right. You're right. You're right. Is this? I cannot think of any more dragons that turn into humans.
I can't either.
I can't either.
I don't want to give up.
I'm not giving
I'm
up.
not giving up.
Okay.
This is going to
So
be
you
a
guys
3-hour
know
long
I'm not.
podcast.
Yeah.
This is actually going to be really funny.
Okay, is this?
Buckle in, everybody. This is our first 3-hour long podcast.
So we're all like, nah.
Yep.
Is this dragon from a game that came out within the last 5 years? So that's 2017.
This dragon was yes.
Was
Okay.
in a game that came out.
What you mean? Like
Within the
came out
5
the
years.
first time, or like was in a game in the last 5 years?
A game that came out in the last 5 years.
No.
Like it. So it was not in a
Was
game
there a
that came
remake
out.
of the game that this dragon is from in the last 5 years?
There's no defined
remake or like they remastered it.
Let-
They remade the game.
Let me Google it.
Okay.
Again, a talk amongst yourselves.
I'm trying to think of games that you've played, Troy, that
Yeah,
I have
yeah,
not
yeah.
played. And there's a lot of them, but I can't think of any that have a dragon in it that might turn into a person. So
I should
Is
have
this a Dragon Age dragon?
No.
I couldn't think of any that transform.
have
into
we
humans.
discussed the game that this dragon is from on today's podcast?
I don't remember
Kind
anything
of?
that we've talked about.
Kind of. Okay, is this a D&D dragon?
Yes.
There we go.
Oh, Joe Brian, good job! Wow!
Okay, here we
Okay.
go.
It's a D&D dragon.
This is all you, Troy.
I'm out now.
I'm
I can actually, you know what? I'm going to start asking color coordinated questions because I'm a very visual person. Is this dragon red when they're a dragon?
No.
Is their beard red when they're a person?
It could be.
Can you character choose like what
Is
things look
this
like,
is
right?
this dragon from the Dragonlance universe?
No.
Is it?
I mean, I could talk for a very long time about how complicated that question is, but for the
Right,
sake of
right.
simplifying this dragon, no. Because technically, since
Because,
they
like,
came out with
technically,
Fisherman's Book of
Dragonlance
Dragons,
is
dragons
from-
are cannibals.
Yeah, the
I'm just like-
original.
Can you
Um,
when you're playing this
Like,
game? Can you choose the beard color and the hair color of the character?
Of this dragon, no.
No.
Is this dragon from Neverwinter, the video game?
Technically, yes.
Technically.
Okay.
Yes. I want to say yes.
All right, we're gonna try some video game dragons. Is this dragon gold in color?
No.
Okay, so
Well,
it's not Bahamut.
Well, it could be.
Is this dragon Bahamut?
Yes.
Hey!
Technically, he's not gold. He's platinum.
Oh,
But he can be gold or silver or.
Okay. I may have a different source.
I thought Bahamut was funny because it's a dragon that Brian knows. It's just not that Bahamut.
It's just that one.
Oh man, that would have been funny if you got the Final Fantasy Bahamut and she's like, nope.
Yes.
If you had said, "Is it Bahamut?" and I was just like, "From where?" You'd be like, "What?"
How do you spell that? The name?
Bahamut.
Yep.
But make sure you put like 5e or Dungeons and Dragons next
Yeah,
to that.
because you're going to get a lot of Final Fantasy ones in that.
So he is part of the Final Fantasy series.
Yep.
He's part of the Valkyrie Profile 2. Are you guys ready for the better one that I found?
Sure.
What's
He's
that?
part of Super Mario RPG.
I forgot.
Nice.
I should look that up. Okay.
What a good dragon.
Yeah, I thought
What a great
it's-
dragon.
The king of dragons.
It's funny because that's offensive. He's a dragon. He can turn into a human, and then it's complicated because he can turn into a human. He can turn into any mortal being that he wants. So
Right.
it's like, does he have a
Yeah.
beard? Well, he could. Does he have abs?
could.
I guess he could. He can look however he wants. Yeah.
Yeah, that really got me.
That's good. I like it.
I
I like the
hope-
segment.
It's
I hope our people at home got to play along.
yes.
Yes.
Ooh.
And they're just
Well,
like,
they got to ask their own questions, but get no response.
yeah. They're like, it's Bahamut. It's Bahamut.
Just
Come
say
on.
it. Just
go.
say it.
We're just talking about Dungeons and Dragons.
Come on.
Why has no one said that yet?
Come on.
Great teamwork, guys. High fives all around.
High
Snaps and
fives.
high
Yes.
fives.
Snap, snap, snap.
Snaps. All right. But unfortunately, though, that brings us to the end of this week's episode. And
Oh.
That was
I'm
a great
sorry.
game, Amanda.
Thank you.
It was good. It was very good. It was a lot of fun.
I don't want it to end. I'm sad. This is very fun.
Perhaps we'll play again. There are so many dragons.
There are.
And we
there's
are
a lot.
so bad at paperwork.
Excellent.
My fingers.
Awful. Next week, I'm guessing, or next time, I'm guessing Spyro right off the bat. I know he's terrible
off
with
the
his
bat.
paperwork. It's going to happen. But you can always find us online, especially on our Discord. That's where we mainly interact. But we also have our Twitter and also our
While
YouTube.
it still exists.
Well, yeah. I mean, you're never going to see a blue check mark next to our name. Nope. Because that's not going to happen.
We're
But-
trying to create a little pocket of indie developers and podcasters, and we're going to just try to have a little hovel, try to have a safe place somewhere on Twitter.
The only pleasant place on Twitter.
That's
Yeah,
right.
It's apocalyptic on there right now.
Yeah.
Although
You can find us on Twitter. We'll be on the corner in the fetal position.
if you have a Twitter alternative in mind and you want to drop into our Discord and tell us about it, that's good too.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. And then don't forget, we still have our Adventurers Club coming up in just 2 short weeks.
That's right. The game that we're playing is Power Wash Simulator 2022.
Yeah.
Go check it out on your Game Pass, either PC Game Pass or regular Game Pass. And if you don't own any of those, go watch a little bit on the YouTube or Twitch and have your own thoughts on the game. See
That's
what you
right.
think.
That's right. And yeah. So until then, though, as always, my name is Brian.
My name is Troy.
Amanda.
I'm Hassel.
And I'm Joe.
And we are
The Taste of
Dragons. Have a great week, everyone.
Bye,
Goodness.
everybody.
I couldn't believe, Bahamut.
I'm glad I didn't pick a dragon from Dragon Age.
Yeah, it's pronounced Dragonage.
Taste of Dragons Gaming Podcast, a podcast for everyone's taste.